on yesterday at the Universal Circus. I will tell you, I had a blast being the guest ringmaster. And I just about did my tap dance, and I just about did it all. And I'm going to show you a couple of quick pictures of me there at the Universal Circus. Let's show some of those pictures there, Mr. Producer. I was trying to do my Hugh Jackman, and I was trying to do my routine of being there I am. Everybody see me? That's me. Look at that. I think I'm better than the Greatest Showman. Let's get going there. So there I am. Nope, not that. We're working it all out. We're having technical difficulties. There I am. There's a couple of pictures of me with some people after the show. Everybody wanted to get their picture with me, and I had a blast. There I am with the Milby Band. Milby got a chance to play at the very beginning. I don't know if you have that clip of the Milby Band, the Milby High School Band. Look at all those great pictures. That must be the band instructor. Look at all those beautiful faces. What a treat it was for them to be able to perform, and what a treat for the whole community. It got packed. I was the warm-up act, and then I got a chance to do some more. But then it was totally, totally packed and sold out. Show up Hugh Jackman there, Mr. Producer. Let's just get a sense for and you vote, Houston and Harris County, who's better at being the Greatest Showman? We're getting Hugh Jackman there. Just hang on, hang on, hang on. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think there, team? I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty close. I think it's pretty close. I'm going to take off my hat now for a minute. If you have that Milby Band, it'd be great if you could put that on, Mr. Producer, if you can. But if you can't, don't worry. And then they gave me this wonderful award there that night, the Universal Community Service Spirit Award. And so I want to thank them for all the great things. And it's just so beautiful to see all these people of color perform. And the whole audience was just so incredibly, whoops, I got a little red mark there. That's, I think, from my hat smashing my head. That's okay. It also just beautiful to see all the kids with all their little lights and everything in the dark. It's so amazing. All the beautiful faces. That's what it's all about, Houston, Harris County. We've got to really get away from some of the troubles of today and really talk about some of the great things that are going on in the world and just get away from it all for just a little while. And by the way, hopefully I have a clip of some of my Jane Campbell moments, because I went to the Dash game and she was fantastic. And they won. This was not this weekend, but the weekend before. They won 1-0 with about no more than like a minute left. She had incredible saves. I just did not realize how incredible she is. What a great athlete. I have some of those best of that I got on YouTube. I'm going to probably put some of those on. But I have a guest here, and this is Miss Janie Torres. Janie, welcome for the show. Thank you for coming on the show. Can everybody hear her okay there, Mr. Producer? Let's get this a little bit closer to you. And, you know, I just want to say a couple of things, because as you know, you've been, you know, living just what happened to your family and your brother for some time. And it just seems that right when you think things are better, it happens again.
Yes.
And again. And again. It's unbelievable. And I'm going to just read something here. This was in the Chronicle today, August 2nd, 2026. Texas cities rank among America's safest and least safe. And you probably know the punchline because it says here that Houston ranked as the second least safe city in the nation, making it the lowest ranked Texas city in the whole report. Least safe city. That's not exactly something you want to be known for. And then it talked about that Smart Asset rated Houston's disaster risk as, quote, very high, unquote. The city has recorded a violent crime rate of 11.5 per 1,000 residents, a property crime rate of 42.9 per 1,000 residents, and a traffic fatality rate of 11.6 per 100,000 residents. It is just heartbreaking to know that. And so I just wanted to mention that because the background is something that Janie's been living in her family for some time. And I want to just read something that also came out that I read before a couple of weeks ago from David Contreras. And David is a fine man. He is a LULAC leader, and he's a historian. And he and his lovely wife, Millie, do so many things in the community. And he wrote something that was published in the editorial of the Houston Chronicle. And I'm going to read most of it. It's not a long read. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Janie and what happened to her family. It's hard to believe 50 years ago.
Yes.
50 years ago.
It's going to be 50 years.
And here we are. It seems you blink an eye and things are still happening. So I'm going to read this. It says, when more than 1,000 Houstonians gathered to demand answers after the death of Lorenzo Salgado Araujo, I thought immediately of another gathering nearly 50 years ago in Moody Park. History has a way of asking the same questions of every generation. As a Houston community historian who has spent more than a decade preserving our city's Latino civil rights history, and remember the civil rights history, black, brown, it's all very similar. It rhymes. I'm going to go back to his story. I have learned a lesson above all others. History rarely announces itself while it is happening. It is not defined merely by what occurs. It is defined by how communities choose to respond once they are tested. This is our test. Nearly 50 years ago, Joe Campos Torres died after being beaten by Houston police officers and left in Buffalo Bayou. The resulting Moody Park unrest of 1978 became a defining chapter in our civil rights struggle. Decades later, Houston saw a similar civic awakening following the murder of George Floyd. Things are not distant historical events. They are visceral reminders. Reminders Hold on a moment. I got disturbed there by my phone. Things are not just historical events. They are visceral reminders that public trust, once broken, takes generations to rebuild. And that silence is the primary architect of that decay. Today, Houston faces that same crossroads. On Wednesday, an estimated 1,000 to 1,500 people marched through the East End demanding justice for Lorenzo Salgado Araujo. What makes this moment distinct is the breadth of the coalition demanding change. We are seeing a rare unified front, civil rights organizations, faith leaders, labor unions, veterans, students, and neighborhood groups. In a city often characterized by its fragmentation, this coalition is a signal. It reflects a shared belief that every life deserves dignity and every investigation demands radical transparency. I'm going to say that one again. Every investigation demands radical transparency. This movement was not born in a courtroom or legislative chamber. It was born in the streets, where ordinary people decided that one family's search for answers had become an entire community's search for justice. I'm going to go on a sidebar here. Janie, that's what your family's been really doing for 50 years, searching for answers and searching for justice. I'm going to go back to the story. It's amazing the parallel. While many elected officials have rightly called for transparency, we must move beyond the rhetoric of jurisdiction. Mayor John Whitmire's point regarding the federal status of the investigation is legally accurate, but public leadership requires more than a statement of legal constraints. When a Houstonian loses his life, the city itself is on trial. True leadership at this moment requires the mayor to leverage this office to ensure an independent, civilian-led review process that operates with complete transparency, regardless of which agency held the badge. Whitmire's press conference on Saturday shows he's begun moving in that direction, but will need more than that to uphold the public trust. The similarities between today's movement and the aftermath of the Joe Campos Torres cases are undeniable. History never repeats itself exactly, but it does echo. And right now it is asking three questions. Will we demand transparency that goes beyond press releases? Will we insist on independent oversight that exists outside the current power structure? Will we stay engaged long after the headlines fade to ensure real accountability? For more than a decade, my work has centered on preserving the archives of our past. Time and again, the records show that history is shaped not by extraordinary figures, but by ordinary people who refuse to remain silent when silence would have been easier. The names have changed. The uniforms have changed. The generations have changed. The fundamental necessity for justice is not. 50 years from now, history will record exactly what we did when our city was tested. It will not remember our excuses for why we couldn't act. It will only remember whether we had the courage to stand together when justice demanded it. History is watching. The question is not whether history will repeat, not whether history will remember us. It is what history will say about our integrity when we have the chance to lead. My goodness, it is incredible. And of course, what we're talking about here is about the death by this innocent man, a family man, a father, a brother, a son, who wasn't even the target of ICE. But they ended up, I guess, profiling him, following him, and the like. And at the end of the day, he's dead. It's terrible. Janie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Does this
Gilbert.
sound familiar to you when you think about law enforcement? And there are so many great members of law enforcement, but there are just a few that sometimes can abuse their authority. And with ICE, it seems like a lot of them have just not been trained. And a lot of them are in unmarked cars, and a lot of them are have their faces covered. But when you see this happening again, how do you feel, Janie?
Oh, I feel very devastated, extremely devastated, extremely worried for the future generations. What what is going to be left for them? What are they going to have to deal with growing up, trying to succeed in life, always having to basically watch their back, you know, watch behind their backs, seeing if they're going to get pulled over, seeing if they're going to be attacked from behind by these thugs. That's what I call them, thugs. Thugs with badges. That's always been thugs with badges. There's no other way to describe them in any neighborhood, in any state. The way they are going about it and handling these type of kidnappings, face covered, everything, even taking citizens, even taking U.S. citizens, even taking people that are in the process of, getting their paperwork, even getting their paperwork in order and everything, go in their appointments as they show up for their appointments, their scheduled appointments. Well, I am not surprised, Gilbert, that this is going on. I'm not surprised that this is going on. I am also not surprised that this happened. The way they were going, it was bound to happen here in Houston. I worried for my family even before this, and they're all U.S. citizens, but it was about the color of their skin. I actually thought it would be B. I really did. I warned my kids about it. I'm always at Home Depot. I'm always here. I'm always out there. It could have been me. It could have been me. And that's no, that's no lie. That's no way for me to live or for any other to live at all.
It's heartbreaking. And when I see you, I can see the emotion in your eyes. You're reliving 1977.
Yes.
You're reliving your family. And what's interesting is when you go back in time, there have been so many moments in civil rights and so much suffering and so many people killed and murdered and all these census acts. I mean, you can go back on and on and on. But I asked my kids the other day, when you talked about the Rodney King episode.
Yes.
And I remember asking my kids, how many of them heard of Rodney King? And remember, that was a moment in time which galvanized the country, and none of them really knew of him. And it makes me wonder, we've got to keep Joe Campos Torres' memory alive. And when you think about Mr. Floyd and his death,
yes,
we got to keep that alive, because it just seems like so much has already been reversed with policies today. I just saw where the city of Houston can no longer have an MWBE program. We're going to talk all about that at another episode, because when you look at the contracting, and I'm going to get the facts, I don't have them today prepared. When you look at the facts, the number of contracts that the city puts out are staggering. And the number that go to MWBE, which really means people of color and women, is so small. It's almost irrelevant. And they want to do away with the program. And it's unbelievable to see in the petition of the lawsuit that brought it on, what, of course, caused the city to have to now change and eliminate the program. They talked about an organization that was trying to get a contract, and all they wanted was a level playing field. Well, that's all we want. But it's not level when you have the majority of this city being people of color, and they can't get but a very small fraction of contracts. I mean, let's just really look at the math, and we will do that at a future episode. But where I'm going is when you think about Mr. Floyd, I'm afraid that people are already forgetting. They've forgotten. And we can't let them forget. And we can't let people forget what just happened no more than a couple of weeks ago to this innocent Houstonian. I want to go back because when you talk about your brother, you know, there's an article that appeared just about 2 years ago. It says, many forget until it happens to them. And it just reflected back on his death. It's an incredible article. And the officers beat your brother.
Yes.
That's not justice.
No.
They beat him. He was, they were the, what do they call it? The jury and the executioner all in one, but they beat him.
Judge, jury, and
yes.
executioners.
They beat him and they took him out away from the city jail because they weren't going to book him because he was so bloodied. The city jail wouldn't book him.
Correct.
And he was a Vietnam vet,
Correct.
Served his country.
Yes.
And they ordered him to take him to Ben Taub.
Correct.
But instead, they took him to a place in Buffalo Bayou known as The Hole. And they beat him again and pushed him in the water. And they said, let's see if this wetback can swim.
Correct.
When you think about that, and of course, there's a memorial there for him, and we were all celebrated his life a couple of years ago. But it probably seems like yesterday to you.
Yes, it does. When these type of incidents happen, I relive being 10 years old again. Because I know why they're doing it. Especially when it's for me, since I'm on that side, it's obvious. I can see it. Someone on the other side of it cannot see it, will probably doubt it, will probably not think that way, but I'm on this side. It happened to my family. I know why it happened, and this is the same thing that I see with the Rodney King case, with the George Floyd case, with Sandra Massey's case. So many cases. And then Lorenzo Salgado Araujo's case here. It all boils down to the color of your skin. No matter how they want to put it, steer it, say it, it boils down to that. And no one else can tell me otherwise because I'm living it. You told my brother, let's see if this wetback can swim. And nothing that he said, he was a U.S. citizen, his Army ID didn't matter to them. All they saw was the color of their skin. It's the mindset, and it's very true. Same plan that they have for us then, they have for us today with Mr. Salgado's situation. Same thing, just different times, different agencies, but it's the same thing. It's the same plan. And this is why it hurts, because you would think that we would be changing. We would be going to a more positive future to where we can all live together as one the right way. Their plan was to get the worst of the legals. That's what they said, but that's not what their plan was.
It's hard to believe it's happened in the year 2026. I mean, it's just hard to believe.
Yes.
We have a caller. Let's hold on. We have a caller. That is Sebastian Torres. Sebastian, are you there?
Yes, hello.
You're on a Tip from Gilbert Talk, Inspiration and Prayer with Miss Janie Torres. I don't think y'all are related, but What do you have for her or for me? We're talking a little bit about really ICE, but we're really trying to make the parallel between sort of abusive law enforcement and what happens to people of color.
Yes. My question is that given all the political turmoil and otherwise that we face in the United States right now, what do you believe is the most pressing civil rights challenge that the United States face? And what are some policies and actions that us as community members might be able to do to go about addressing it?
Well, I'm going to let Miss Janie answer that, but let me add this, if I may. We've got to speak out. You know, the great John Lewis, of course, he was there on the bridge when many of him and other citizens were beaten up, attacked by dogs, canine. And of course, he's passed recently. He was in Congress for many years. He always said, if you see something, you got to say something. It starts there. You know, there's an old Michael Jackson song which says, I'm starting with a man in the mirror. I'm asking if he'll change his ways. You know, you got to start with the individual. And then it ripples. Like when you see a pond and you throw a pebble in and it's a little bitty ripple and it gets really big and it goes in the whole pond. That's how it starts. And it continues when you think about when you have these marches, when we honored Joe Compostores at the memorial. Show up at those things. Show up and learn and lend support and hold the elected officials accountable. It's amazing how they'll often discover things after the fact. But where have they been for the last 2 years when we've seen ICE over and over and over arrest innocent people, arrest people that are citizens, separate families, taking children? I mean, that's not what this country was really built on. And continuing, it goes to what's happening today with all these reversals of great civil rights legislation that was implemented essentially 60 years ago. Learn your history and talk about it at the dinner table with your family. And make sure you vote. The right to vote is becoming so precious. And now they want to have some sort of national registry to keep track of everybody voting. You want to know what they want to, you want to know why they want to do that? To prevent people from voting. Let's see if we can get that clip on there, Mr. Producer, because thank goodness there are still some judges out there who are willing to be a check and balance.
Good morning. Illinois is among 48 states that were facing this lawsuit by the Department of Justice. So far, judges in 19 of those states, us now included, ordered not to hand over a current statewide voter registration list to the federal government. On Friday, a federal judge dismissed the lawsuit in Illinois, saying the DOJ cannot compel the Illinois Board of Elections to release sensitive information about over 8 million registered voters across our state. The lawsuit sought a judge's order asking state election officials to release voter registration information, including residential addresses, driver's license numbers, and the last digits of social security numbers. The feds doubling down on getting all that information after a redacted list was submitted. Well, a judge now dismissing it altogether without prejudice, meaning the suit cannot be filed again. We know election fairness and eliminating voter fraud have been major points in President Trump's second term so far. Illinois now joining 18 other states, including Arizona and Wisconsin, whose cases have also been dismissed. I'm live in the newsroom. Asal Razai, CBS News, Chicago.
Thank you, producer. So it all goes back, Sebastian, to all those things. I'm going to see what Janie may want to add to all this, because it could be you. You know, I've had to have, and you might think, you know, you would think that I'm educated and all those sorts of things. I have a successful firm. I've had to tell my kids to be careful. And if they're pulled over, their name is Garcia. And I've had to tell them and warn them, don't ever, ever talk back to law enforcement. Ever, 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 ever. Especially if it's nighttime. Because things can happen. Janie, what say you?
You're right, Gilbert. We do have to get involved. We do have to speak up, especially speak up when injustice is done to you. Don't be scared to fight it. They use all types of tactics, intimidation. They try to drain you, wear you out, get you tired, get you to where you will give up. Do not give up. Continue to fight for justice. Speak up. Get involved. Ask questions. Get with an organization. Support when a situation like this come out. But not only at that time, but continue showing up for support. Continue being there. Continue going to the meetings or protests. Go to City Hall, speak up, sign up to speak. Most importantly as well, vote. Go out and vote. But do your homework before voting so that way you can see with facts of those that are running for certain offices what they have done for the community in the past. If they are worthy of your vote, don't just go and vote blindly just because it's a Spanish last name. Look at their track record. Look how they added into the community to make it better for all of us to come together. But just keep fighting, speaking up. This is what I've been doing for years, for decades, since this happened to my brother. And look, and I'm here again, but I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue being there.
Amen
to the
for
very
that.
end, to the very end, to my last days, I'm going to continue to be there for all these families and speaking up for them and fighting for them to get justice for their loved ones. Because no, this is not what we're supposed to be fearing and how we're supposed to be living. We shouldn't have to be fighting for justice in a country that's supposed to be free. No.
And I know that Johnny Mata's done incredible work.
Yes.
And he has for decades. Here we got a lot of people now writing emails in here. Hannah, a city built by immigrants, hard work and diversity. Every family deserves to be feel safe, respected, and treated with dignity, no matter where you stand on immigration policy. We can all agree that our community is strongest when justice, compassion, and due process guide the conversation. Houston is home. Thank you, Hannah. That is so great. Thank you for that email. I saw some others. Alfred, let's go Houston. Make our voices heard. Thank you for that, Alfred. I know there are others too. What's interesting to me is it's just amazing that it's happening again. And going back to my story, and I built a new house a couple of years ago, my wife and I, and we were very proud of it when it was being built. And there, of course, was a hurricane fence around it, one of those metal fences, while it was getting built. And, I'm proud of it. And this is like our dream home. And so we were spending Mother's Day or something like that with my family. Annabelle, don't go. I'm just going to do this story and then I'm coming to you. I see you're on the phone there waiting. And I see there's another person waiting as well. And we were doing Mother's Day, and I said, you want to come look at the house? It's not finished, of course, but it has at least the spine. And they all said yes. And like the good Latino family, 4 cars ended up parking outside my house, and 15 people came out of the cars. And then we got out, and there's a hurricane fence, and we opened up the fence, and then we went in, and we went upstairs, and we were looking from upstairs. And of course, there's no walls or anything. It's just the spine of the wood. And there was a Anglo elderly white lady,
Yes.
a senior citizen. Anglo means, of course, white. And she was in front of my house staring at us. And maybe my family, we don't have the best of cars, Yeah. My audience is laughing here, but you know what I mean? We're Latinos, right? And my family doesn't really have any money. You know what? They don't have a retirement. Their retirement is me.
Yes.
That's what we do when someone has a little bit of success. You take care of everybody. That's what we do. And they don't, have health insurance. When something goes wrong, you know what they do? They put a little bit of Neosporin on it and wrap it up. Or if it's a little bit of, small cut, they'll put dirt in there and then that'll get better. That's what you do. But so there we were, and she was just staring at us, and it was very uncomfortable. And I was looking at her, so I waved at her just because I didn't know if she was a neighbor or what. She's walking her dog. She sees us, and she sees a bunch of brown people there upstairs. And so then she's there, and she walks off after just staring. And I waved, and she did not wave back. Guess what? On the way out, we open up the hurricane fence, and there's this big police officer. Must have been, 6'3", buffed, and he had his hand on his holster. And he says, "What are y'all doing in this house?" And I said, "Sir, this is my house." And then he felt, you could tell, bad, and he realized, what was going on. And he says, "Oh, well, congratulations." I said, "Thank you." But here's what's scary about that, Houston, Harris County. What if it had been nighttime? What if it had been nighttime? What if my family, some of us, had been celebrating and had a little bit of alcohol? And, what could have happened? That could have been another terrible moment. And that happened to me a couple of years ago. And so it just goes to show you that, we have to talk about it. And we have to remind people and keep those memories alive. Why? So it doesn't happen again. That's why we do it. Not because, what do they call it? That's critical race theory. No, it's not. It's about keeping things alive and keeping memories alive of what happened. Not because we're, ashamed of the past, although we may be, but at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about making sure it doesn't happen again, and educating today's youth about, how far we've come, and let's keep going further. Annabelle, we have a question by you. What do you got there for us?
Hi, Gilbert. Hi, Ms. Torres.
Hello.
So I just want to know, when people hear Jose's name, your brother, what do you want them to know about who he was beyond the headlines, beyond what everyone reads on the news? Who was he as a person? Who was he to you?
A human being. He was life. He was a life. He was a living person. He breathed. He smiled. He cried, just like all of us. He was a human being.
I think that
He
really
was-
sums it up.
He had a mom that loved him very much. Brothers and sisters that loved him very much. Yes.
Oh my goodness. I can feel what you're feeling.
Yes.
I can see it in your eyes. And I think about, other communities. I think about the Salgado family, Arajos family. And, there's a lady that's been on my show before, Miss Jocelyn Griffin.
Yes.
And, she had a son that was arrested. And before he could even go through his whole due process,
Right.
lo and behold, He just strangely died in prison. And you think about how many people are dying in prison. It's unbelievable. There should be none, but there's so many. And of course, what amazing thing that there's no cameras around places when these things happen. There's no witnesses when these things happen. And most of the time, family members are incarcerated because they really can't afford representation. I had a cousin that was in trouble and got arrested. Well, I got him out. But here's the thing. What if he didn't have a cousin? What if he didn't have, that could have been him. And, it's just one of those things where people often forget that these are human beings. These are sons. These are daughters. These are just people, brothers, husbands. And so it just breaks my heart to see these things happen. Annabelle, did you have a follow-up or anything there? I just wanted to give you a chance. I didn't want to go off without you getting your time there.
No, I just wanted people to realize that he, along with all the other people that have been victims of ICE and racism in our country, are beyond just who we read on the paper, beyond just who we see on social media, that they each had a family, they each had somebody that cared about them. They were each their own individual people. I think it's really important that people.
Well, Annabelle, thank you for
Thank you.
highlighting that and bringing it to our attention. And thank you for the wonderful, wonderful, thoughtful question. So, Janie, let me ask you this. Have you talked to the family, the Salgado Araujo family?
No, I have not yet. I just want to respect their time because I know what they're going through and how important it is for them to stay focused and on ground of what they have to do, because it's going to be a challenge, but I send my prayers for their strength, to give them strength to get these challenges done, because it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard. But for them to just know that the whole community is behind them. Other states, other people in other states are behind them because this went nationwide and everybody is praying for them. Just be strong. Please do not give up. I know it's going to be hard.
Well, when you think about Johnny Mata, not only has he been just an incredible leader with LULAC, but he also started the Coalition for Justice,
Yes.
which is really meant to be beyond the Latino population. And, there's so many great African-American leaders that are part of that are really engaged too. Bishop Dixon, of course, from the NAACP,
Yes.
Judson Robinson, who from the Urban League.
Mhm.
They're all big supporters. They're all involved. They're all part of those press conferences. And thank goodness for them, because they've got to keep these things going, because if there's injustice that's done to one, it's done to all of us.
Yes.
And so going back for a moment, what advice do you have for that family, Salgado family? I mean, if there can be such a thing as advice, other than take it one day at a time, but really, I can't help but to think that it probably never goes away. The emptiness. We have a quick thing. Someone just said here, is that Nary? Nary, if I said your name wrong, I apologize. It says, today, as we remember Joe Compostores and reflect on the conversations taking place across Houston, we're reminded that change doesn't happen by accident. It happens when people get involved. Thank you for that. We really appreciate you for sending that email to us. Appreciate you for listening. Is there such a thing as being able to give them advice? I mean, I guess the only advice I could imagine is, just take it one day at a time.
Just don't give up. just don't give up. I know exactly how they feel. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, the pain is still going to be the same, but the strength is going to be stronger. It's going to be stronger. Stay focused, stay grounded. Don't give up. They push, push harder.
That's right.
They push again, push harder. That's all I can give them.
Do you think these ICE officials will face justice?
I honestly, I hope so. I really hope so. We don't know their names. We don't know their faces. We have a right to know their names of the murderers. We have rights to know the names of murderers. That's exactly what they are. Murderers, cold-blooded murderers. Lord knows where else they can be at right now. In another state, doing the same thing, looking for another victim. We have a right to know who they are.
Amen for that.
We have a right.
We have a right.
Yes.
You heard it here. We have another caller coming through. We're going to send them through here in just one moment. Did the perpetrators, the killers, the murderers of Joe Campos Torres, they really didn't face justice?
No, they did not at all. Not at all. They got a fine. They got a year and a couple of months state jail time, and that was it. Other than that, I mean, negligent homicide. Other than that, that was it. They're out there doing Lord knows what. But yeah, their day will come. Their
That's
day
right.
will come. Each time they watch the news and stuff and see us there. Yes.
Yeah. It's just amazing that they could get off like that.
Yes.
It's just amazing. We have a caller here. Is there Purvy there? Purvy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You got me, Gilbert Garcia, the tip for me with this Janie Torres. We're talking a little bit about ICE, a little bit about Joe Campos Torres, who, of course, was brutally beaten by police officers and thrown in the bayou and was really murdered. What do you got for us?
So first of all, my question is for Ms. Torres. I want to say I'm so sorry for your loss. I know it's been some time, and I really appreciate you being here and sharing your story. My question is, if you could speak directly to policymakers, what's the first reform you'd ask them to prioritize?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
If you could talk to the people in power, what changes would you like to see them make? What policy differences?
Ban qualified immunity.
Mm-hmm.
I know that would make a huge difference.
So in other words, when they do something wrong, they're going to have to face the consequences like everybody else.
Exactly.
Amen for that. What else comes to your mind?
And we can go after their pensions.
Aha. Hit them in their pocketbook.
Exactly. Hit them in their pocketbooks versus the city's pocketbooks, which the taxpayers then pay. I don't agree with having to pay horrible conduct from police officers or from state official officers or ICE agents. Why should I? I didn't do it.
And here's another one, my view. Make them reveal themselves. None of this wearing masks.
Exactly.
And, none of this unmarked cars. And you know what? My goodness. Train them.
Exactly.
They have lethal weapons on. Train them. The way the cops go through the whole academy and everything, train them.
Exactly. Train them properly.
That's right.
Don't just hire the first one that wants to just go and make extra money. That's, basically what it boils down to. You are hiring others that also have criminal records, which we saw recently in the news, an abusive ex-husband where the wife came out and spoke about him after he shot and killed someone also? No.
That's terrible. You can't even believe that that person would be authorized and would have the ability to have a lethal weapon.
Yes.
So, Miss Purvey, hopefully we're answering your question. What else do you got? Any follow-up?
No follow-up. I think that was a really insightful response to the question. And yeah, thank you so much for answering my question.
Thank you.
Well, we thank you. Continuing, I'm hopeful that justice will be done. Why do you think there was no justice for your brother? You know, I think when we go back, was the jury an all-white jury?
Yes, they were. And back then that was a time to where it was extremely racist. It still is today, but back then they hold more power against us. They hold more authority against us because we kept quiet. We were scared. Even when they would go to the Spanish neighborhood parks, when the police officers would go in the Spanish neighborhood parks, they would raid the parks. They would make everybody leave, you know, and that became a normal way of life for us as growing up. You heard it in different neighborhoods in Northside and in Denver Harbor, Second Ward. You heard those stories, and all we did was, get scared, and we got to be careful. As to where it's now, I mean, it's just uncovered. They are uncovered. They are saying it on social media. They are all the rhetoric that they're calling us. They're calling the brown people all these names. They're calling the African Americans all these names. I'm like, whoa, you know, it's that's not the life that I want my grandkids nor my great grandkids to face and to have to live with. No, you know, I want them to live with everyone together, but this racism, no, we're going to win over it.
We're going to win because you know what?
Yes.
Justice is on our side.
Yes, we're going to win over it.
Yeah, it is just. And, you know, when you think about when people talk about DEI and all those sorts of things, you know what? You know, DEI is not a political thing. DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, it's just good business.
Yes, it is.
Because you know what? Why wouldn't you cast the broadest net possible to find the best talent possible? That's all it is. It's about just making sure that nobody is screened out for barriers of entry. And so when I hear those sorts of things, I just want to say, wait a minute, you must not get it. It's not about some sort of handout. It's a hand up. It's about giving people a fair opportunity to enjoy the American dream like we all want. That's what we all want. So these are very challenging times. You know, you've got prices so high. You've got gas prices so high. The other day I went to the airport and I went to a kiosk for a burger place, and I won't say the name of the burger place. Mm-hmm. And I was with one of my partners. And first of all, we couldn't figure out how to work the kiosk because we wanted to have it our way, but we couldn't. And so, you know, the lady had to come from behind the counter to show us how to do the things that we wanted to make sure it was our way rather than just tell it to them. So it took like 4 times more time than not. And are you ready for this? 2 burgers, 1 lemonade, and 1 coffee. And 2 fries. Almost $50. $50. And I'm like, who can afford to just, you know, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bring my own sandwich when I'm going to be flying because my $50. And this wasn't like some nice restaurant. This wasn't, you know, carne guisada at Laredo Taqueria. This wasn't Frenchie's Great Chicken. This was just a burger at the airport, $50. And I reflected on my family and I'm thinking, my goodness, it's just hard to even survive right now.
Yes.
And it seems that we should do better because no one can afford a home anymore. They can't afford insurance anymore. You can't afford your electricity bill anymore. You just can't afford anything. I don't know where it's going, but we've got to do something.
Yes.
And we got to focus on the priorities that matter, which is everyday lives of people to make their lives better. That's what my view is the responsibility of our elected officials, keeping them safe, getting them educated, and make their lives better. We only have a few more minutes here. Janie, it's hard to believe it's already been an hour.
Yes.
Can you believe it? It's hard to believe.
Well, we got some good.
We got a lot more to
Conversations.
cover in another future time when you
Yes.
come back. And I've reached out through some people of the Salgado family, Arajo. I'm hoping they'll be on when it's best for them. I hope they don't lose the opportunity. I got to get Miss Jocelyn back on to get an update of her struggles. I know she got Ron Reynolds, the great Ron Reynolds, who does all kinds of good things there in the legislature, to sponsor a bill that I think they got passed. And so they're trying to make some good. What do you say to your son, Richard, of course, who we all know real well, Richard and his kids and so forth, when they talk to you and say, mom or grandma, what do you tell them about your brother?
Oh, they know. I raised them. Knowing about the story, and that's why Richard is why he's usually always with me. And we go out to the protests. We meet the families. We speak up. Always, Richard is just such an amazing human being.
He really is, and
He's my
and
son.
he's so together.
Yes,
He's
he
so
does not back
together,
down.
and he's
Yes.
so articulate.
Yes, he is.
I mean, he just is very thoughtful.
very.
Thank
you.
I love visiting with him
Thank
because he's just so mature. He's really got on and going on.
you.
And I believe that comes from you, and that's going to then be with his kids. And
Oh,
that's
he's-
how the beat goes on.
He's an awesome dad. He is an awesome dad. His two sons are his everything. If he wasn't my son, I would say but he is an awesome dad.
He's awesome. He is
Not
awesome.
only because he's my son, but he is.
If he weren't your son, you'd say, be my son.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? If he weren't your son, he wouldn't be like that because you're the one. It comes from you. It comes from all of your faith. I know you're a strong person of faith. It comes from all the things that have shaped your life, whether it's things about your brother and everything else, all the things that you've lived, it comes from you.
Thank you. But Richard has a lot of the qualities within his own self as a human being. He has a very kind heart. He's very lovely. He has a very kind heart with his own. I can't take the credit for everything. Honestly, but Richard is a very fine man.
He really is. Well, Houston, Harris County, we're going to be back
Thank you.
next week. Of course, we've got other shows coming up. I want to get Mr. Canetti back. We're going to hopefully get the best goalie ever. That's the Houston Jazz, Jane Campbell. We want to get her back on. And, of course, we're going to do a whole wrap-up on FIFA. I'm not done with some of my clips. I'm going to be having a clip that's going to be the best of the tip from Gilbert. And we've got a lot of good things coming on. Children's Charity, all the great work that they're doing. And so, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia saying we will see you next time. All right, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. Watch and hear my show on YouTube, Facebook, RSS, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. And follow me on social media. See you then.